No.
Oh, God.
Every father to his toddler.
No.
Oh, no.
Throughout time.
No.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Did Mando just go out for a pack of cigarettes? What happened there?
Yeah. Or he's like, finally, my problems are solved.
Oh, that's one way to get into season 3.
Who is that channel? Max Just H. Max Just. You guys are brilliant. Well done. It looks like they inflated Grogu's head a little bit as he got sucked out. I love YouTube. I love these animators. Hire these people for Lucasfilm. You can hire Shabook. Hire these folks. They're clearly very talented with a great sense of humor. Welcome back to New Rockstars. As we strut off into the binary sunset from the Book of Boba Fett, we actually overlooked quite a bit about our little frog gobbler, Grogu. Specifically, that he spoke his first words, and he knows a lot more about the Force than probably his master or ex-master, Luke Skywalker. Also, that he and a Jedi by the name of Ezra Bridger might both have an interesting Jedi connection when it comes to animals. So what is this ex-youngling's secrets? What the foundling?
Foundling?
We made it work.
The foundling?
This is
The foundling!
Wookieeleaks. Wookieeleaks is our weekly reaction to the latest and greatest in Star Wars. I'm Erik Voss. We're now in the Dune Sea when it comes to Star Wars content, considering Obi-Wan Kenobi's not coming until the end of May. But right now, I am with the best Tusken tribe member I could ever imagine, braving these deserts with Tommy Bechtold.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kenobi, for really effing us on Super Bowl Sunday by not dropping a trailer. Doctor Strange did it right. Moon Knight did it right. Chippendale Rescue Rangers dropped a trailer this morning, but you couldn't give us even just a little slice to spend 3 hours talking about on this show today. Instead, we're wandering around, scarves tied around our head, searching for those melonionions that have water in them that we can crack open and drink, starving for content, thirsting for knowledge.
Tommy, we're back where we belong here in the Blue Dungeon. We just spent all of last weekend together in Chicago, had a great time. Thanks again to everyone who came out to Talia Hall. Thanks to Rooster Teeth and their Very Normal Podcast Tour, and of course, the wonderful headliners of the Face Jam podcast. It was a delight geeking out about Star Wars with you, Tommy, in front of a live audience.
We got to meet Sheev Palpatine.
That's right. We got to meet Sheev.
And his son Griffin. I never knew.
Didn't know. Man, like the audience turnout, they were all just so wonderful.
Yes. Thank you all very much.
The right flavor of nerds that I've known you've been out there, but just to meet some of you in person was just such a blessing for me.
Thank you to the multiple of you that bought me shots of Malort, and also screw you for the multiple of you that bought me shots of Malort, because let me tell you, the show was great, the after show was great, the morning the after show was not great. Not great for old T.
Well, we have some more about Star Wars that we want to dig into today. We got to talk about these new details we've now started to focus on with Grogu, as well as the mystery fate of Cad Bane, when we might see the septuagenarian Duro next. And time is literally running out to get the latest Obsession Book of Boba Fett shirt over at newrockstarsmerch.com. They're going to be shoving that back in the Sarlacc pit soon, so grab one while supplies last. It's such a cool Boba Fett Hunter design. It's one of my favorite designs we've done here at New Rockstars. Those folks at Epic Hero have really outdone themselves. So while you're there, though, at the shop, check out their new Mephisto shirt designs, because wearing those is the best way to tell people that you watch New Rockstars is actually without actually telling people you watch New Rockstars. I really love that word search design that they came up with.
Me too.
It's perfect. It is perfect.
Pay me in shirts, guys. That's all I ever say. Just send a shirt. Send a couple shirts my way every week, and I'll do Wookieeleaks for free.
Now, as a reminder, whenever you get our latest Obsession shirts, You get to write in a custom shout out that will appear at the bottom of our after shows that week. So this week we had Gabriel Powers asking, hey Erik, do you think they'll ever put Lord Fett in a scene with a clone, maybe in Ahsoka with Captain Rex? You know, I actually really hope that Rex will show up in Ahsoka. I feel like that would give Temuera Morrison a chance to show up again in one of these other shows. I don't know if Boba Fett and Rex will ever have like an interesting reason to ever have a conversation, but who knows? I think that's an interesting thought for sure. And what else do we see? Oh, Nico asking, if you had a mod, what would you get? I'd probably just get like a completely new back. I hunch. I don't have a good like back. It's not my backbone. It's really just my back muscles. But either way, just replace it all. And then Bruce says, follow Jesus. He is the way. Well, he's the way for you, and he's the way for a lot of great people. But you know what? Sometimes Mandalorian dogma can be the way for others. But you know what? It's your right to say that, Bruce, and we appreciate you.
I've got a question for you. Did we hear Grogu speak this season on Boba Fett, or am I crazy?
Well, both can be true. You can be crazy, I can be crazy, but we can also hear this little puppet talk. Because I think we did. Let's actually roll the clip from the finale episode where Mando and Grogu reunite on the back of that rickshaw. Roll the clip.
Hey, Mando! Look who's here!
What? Yeah, the sound mixers there totally snuck in a little toddler grunt from Grogu. They recorded some toddler to do the audio for Grogu, and that toddler, whether or not it was scripted, definitely said "Dada," and we know it landed because Mando says "What?" the way a parent would when a kid would say "Dada," and it recalls the final shot of episode 6 in which the audio description spells out that Grogu begins to open his mouth to reply to Luke Skywalker about which choice to make, and I think based on his reunion with Mando, his words to Luke in that moment were gonna be, hey, you f***ing Jedi, I don't want no part of you, you piece of shit, you cult, you cult nonsense speller. I'm not gonna drink a goddamn Kool-Aid. Give me that shirt. I want that shirt. Pay me in shirts. That's what he's gonna say. You can see it on the tip of his tongue. But for real, I think Dada may have been what Grogu said to Luke. And Luke's like, this kid chose a father. And Luke, you gotta imagine, so moved by Grogu choosing a paternal connection over a life of solitude, could not help but be moved by that. He's like, if only fathers chose sons and sons chose fathers sometimes, right? Like, if only Luke Skywalker had taken that lesson, that family connection beats Jedi orthodoxy, he might not have gotten into that whole mess with Ben Solo, but, oh well. Now, there was a line from episode 6 that we didn't talk enough about when Luke told Ahsoka Tano,
it's more like he's remembering than I'm actually teaching him anything.
It's a fascinating line the more you think about it. It reminds me how for learning certain skills, it can feel like remembering what you already knew, even though you were never actually explained these things. At least that's what my UCB Improv 401 teachers told us as they took $450 from each of us while they slept through us just doing the same boring scenes over and over again. Money, please.
It's more about agreement than anything. I would have loved to have seen more agreement in that scene.
I drank too many shots at Birds last night, but man, the students love me! But this all reminds us that Grogu is over 50 years old, at the age Luke's father would have been right now, and 5 years older than Ahsoka even. So Grogu already had the ability to use the Force to push and lift and choke in life or death circumstances in early seasons of The Mandalorian. Ahsoka told us that many masters trained him over the years. During Order 66, the night his Jedi training ended, at least at the temple, Grogu would have been 22 at that point, which is plenty of time for him to learn all kinds of stuff. It's also possible that after Order 66, some other Jedi took him in and continued his training. Some Jedi, like we've speculated, Luminara Unduli was around for a few years after that. So Grogu knows a lot more about the Force than we realize. He might have been able to speak before all these events, and the trauma of Order 66 caused him to revert back to a more infantile state. I'm doing some Jedi armchair analysis, psychoanalysis of a child.
Well, I also was that made me think: is there a possibility that somebody used, scrambled his brain as a defense to keep him from being able to be located by stormtroopers? Like if they made him forget that he was a Jedi, that made him safer. Because if he's young and impulsive and able to use the Force, he's going to be an easy target to pick off. But if they make him completely forget that he has all these abilities and in effect turn him back into a baby that can't speak and doesn't really know that they can use the Force and just kind of sits in that bassinet the whole time. Does that make him safer from the chance of being assassinated or murdered by the Empire? So is there a Jedi that perhaps took drastic measures to save Grogu?
That's an interesting theory. I mean, it's a kind of a messed up step to take because you got to imagine in this case, this Yoda species from birth nearly started to be nurtured and brought up in the Jedi way. So all of his memories were Jedi memories. So to scramble those, I guess using the Force.
They pulled a Hermione on her parents in Harry Potter.
Yeah, a Runes of Cough Call from Spider-Man No Way Home. Just wiping this poor kid's memory. Pretty messed up, but you can imagine some Jedi thinking this is the best way. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah. I don't know if it protects him better because ultimately, like, if the kid looks like Yoda, he's going to be a target no matter where he goes.
Yeah, you're right. But if you remember, the egg was closed.
Right.
Before
they keeps him in that
it,
bassinet, whatever keeps him in the bassinet. Yeah, I think that's an interesting, very dark theory, but I could see that being the case.
I'm a dark guy, you know? My mind is a clouded thunderstorm of sadness.
Now, Grogu's moment with the Rancor might have been the biggest implication we should look at here because it reminds us of the Force-linked connection to animals that Ezra Bridger showed in Rebels. And Ezra's fate remains unknown. Rebels ended with Ahsoka Tano joining Sabine Wren in a search for Ezra. Presumably, we're going to see a live-action Ezra in the Ahsoka series. And Ezra's path may have even crossed with Grogu's at some point before Mando found the child. That's one thing I love about these Star Wars shows is they just keep jumping around at different points in history. And it's very possible for characters that we know to have just met and crossed paths with characters that we wouldn't have expected. That's how we got Ahsoka in this connection with both Grogu and with Luke Skywalker. Ask me 5 years ago, I never would have expected Ahsoka to cross with Luke Skywalker, but now here we are. I wanted to just ask your thoughts on Grogu speaking, you know, and do we see this as a possible maturation of Grogu or a restoration to what he might have been before? And do we think that his time with Luke Skywalker, that we got enough time away from Mando for it to feel earned after the season 2 finale?
I mean, it's 100% more movement than we saw from him in either of the first 2 seasons of Mando. I think that his time with Luke, though we didn't get a lot of it on screen, it was a period of Luke kind of restoring the skills that Grogu had and also and helping him, you know, improve on those skills. And to me, it was perfectly fine. You know, the ending of Mandalorian season 2 was heartbreaking. Overseeing, you know, not to be like snarky, but like you're watching Pedro Pascal's stuntman in hold a puppet and say goodbye to him, and you're like, oh, this is really sad. And then he takes his helmet off. It's Pedro, obviously, but it's like, you know, it's heartbreaking, but it's not like a real life drama taking place in Kansas. This is a space western opera. Like, it's a, you know, I'm okay if things move faster and we get Grogu back on the show. As a Star Wars fan, I want Grogu in my life. So yeah, just the moment of him being ripped away from Mando for what appeared to be the better path for him or the safer path for him, that was heartbreaking enough for me that a reunion couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah, Tommy, I agree with you. I think a lot of people remember that season 2 finale of Mandalorian is when Mando said goodbye to Grogu. And yes, we did see that happen, but I was just personally so overwhelmed by Luke Skywalker showing up and what that meant for the future of Grogu. I didn't really think about that meant saying goodbye to Mando as much, even though honestly that is totally what that was about. I assume naturally these two would reunite in the future because they are the core dramatic relationship of that whole story.
Right.
So really, all I really needed is just to spend one episode, 1 hour with Grogu and Luke Skywalker, and it was satisfying for me to have them back together again.
Absolutely.
I don't need to spend more time with just Din Djarin by himself. We had an entire episode of that too. And I think structurally, for the big Star Wars universe overall, this was done perfectly, but it did require a sacrifice of some narrative continuity and some structural integrity of the Book of Boba Fett 7 episodes.
Right. I also think, though, I do like what you had said, kind of altering, you know, obviously our immediate reaction to Grogu returning to Mando was like, oh, he spurned Luke, or he like, you know, Luke is like sitting there sulking or seething. I like the idea more of Luke, like, kind of like recognizing the reality of the situation and being kind of like at peace with it and being like, oh, he wants to go back to the person he considers his father, and he wants that relationship.
Yes, very, very good point, Tommy. But before we continue, today's episode is sponsored by Honey. Manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is a free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, from tech and gaming sites to popular fashion brands and even food delivery. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites, and when you check out, the Honey button drops down, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. You wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site, and if Honey finds a working coupon, you will watch those prices drop. Here at New Rockstars, everyone is using Honey. Producer Brandon saves a lot of money on food and delivery, and producer Zach saved a bunch of money on a hotel room reservation recently. Honey has found its over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Wookie. That's joinhoney.com/Wookie with one E. And thanks to Babbel for sponsoring this episode. There's a lot of good goals to set for yourself this year. At the top of my list is learning a new language with Babbel, the language learning app that's sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Our editor John is learning Italian, and our other editor Joshua is learning Spanish. They're using the bite-sized language lessons in a race to fluency, and they are loving how easy and fun Babbel is to use. Babbel's 15-minute lessons were created by over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and your accent. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use the promo code Wookie. That's BABBEL.com, code Wookie, WOOKIEE. Babbel, language for life. Support for Wookieeleaks is also brought to you by our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in male grooming. Their 4th generation performance package absolutely changed the grooming game, along with their refined body wash to round out your hygiene routine. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for their shower time routine by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code Wookie. If you don't have a back-to-bath you can hop in, the next best thing to keep your body fresh and clean is the Manscaped Refined Body Wash. It's one of the great items in the Performance Package 4.0, along with their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. The Manscaped Lawnmower is not only famous for their skin-safe technology, it's also waterproof, or in the ocean world of Camino with no worries. And we know those smooth Caminoans love a trim and tidy downstairs department. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Wookie at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Wookie at manscaped.com. Keep your balls trimmed, fresh, and clean with Manscaped. Now, Tommy, back to where the Book of Boba Fett left the Star Wars universe. Cad Bane, I think the most exciting cameo of a new character that we hadn't seen before in live action. I love this guy. I don't think he's dead. I think that blinking indicator light tells us that there's still a heart rate there. No one ever really dies, as you said in our after show last week. Where do you think we may see Cad Bane next?
The easiest thing to do would be to just go back in time. Just have him appear in Kenobi. But I would not be surprised if we do get him in the Ahsoka as in the Ahsoka show as a hired gun kind of mercenary character. He's alive. They don't have anything. Ahsoka has no knowledge of him having a run-in with Boba Fett, but just more that allows that character to kind of expand beyond just being the heavy that he was in Book of Boba Fett. Come in, shoot Cobb Vanth, shoot the deputy that wouldn't shut the up. Sorry for swearing. But totally got himself killed despite repeated warnings of hey, this is what's gonna happen. He effed around and found out, I guess, as we said. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cad Bane show up in Ahsoka. I think that the establishment of that character, as you said, they're not done with him. You know, like he's coming back and he's coming back strong. Yeah, I think my answer is Ahsoka. I think he's going to show up as a adversary at Ahsoka, maybe just for an episode.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see him again. I think when you build a Duro mask that looks that good, you don't just use it for 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. They're going to bring that thing back wherever they can.
And that voice is so good.
Right. The voice acting, the stand-in acting was incredible. Yeah. You know, everything that went into bringing Cad Bane to screen was just flawless.
Absolutely.
And I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most interesting title for him to show up in, because that would be the Age of the Empire. That's right around the time he'd be working with Boba Fett, just to go right back there so we could see their backstory, their history together. Yeah. Just if it's just like one cold open, one scene to one of the other episodes about something else, I'm totally okay with that. Secondly, I think Mandalorian Season 3, I think would be a good place for him to show up in. For whatever reason, I think Ahsoka's just going to be involved with other stuff, like the search for Thrawn. I don't know if Cad Bane is the most necessary character to show up there, but who knows? Wherever he shows up, I'm okay with it. But I want to throw something out there. The Acolyte. So the Acolyte's going to take place before Phantom Menace.
Yes.
You think it's going to take place old years. And that's, Cad Bane's an old guy. He's in his 70s. This is an opportunity to show his youth, show how he got started as a scrappy bounty hunter, working for different authorities, whether it's the Trade Federation or the Hutts. We could see this guy teaming up with Darth Maul. That was part of his past. Like, let's bring Maul back to live action, yeah? Can we? Is that crazy to suggest?
Not for me.
We'll leave it there for this episode of Wookieeleaks, but Tommy and I are going to be back every week as we make this shift to covering Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a trailer soon. Maybe by the time you're watching this, the trailer's out. And you're like, why aren't they covering it? But we're going to be answering whatever biggest Star Wars questions you have between now and then. Now, don't forget to check out our many great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me at EA Voss. Follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching. And we'll say it this way. This is the way.